Here's the review for distributive property and how we're going to multiply these numbers. So 15 times 6. We want to take 15 because it's a double-digit number, and we want to break it into two numbers that we can add together. And the easy ones would be 10 plus 5. And then we're going to multiply that by 6. This looks like 6 times 10 plus 6 times 5. Remembering that this 6 has to get shared with both numbers inside. 6 times 10 is 60. 6 plus 5 is 30. Therefore, 15 times 6 is 90. 4 times 22. Let's take the 22 and split it into 20 plus 2. That might be easier than doing 10 plus 12. So this is going to be 4 times 20 plus 4 times 2. So we have 80 plus 8, and 4 times 22 is 88. 3 times 96. 96 will be 90 plus 6 times 3. 3 times 90 plus 3 times 6. 3 times 9 is 27, so we have 270, plus 3 times 6 is 18, and we end up with 288. 5 times 73. Why don't you go ahead and pause and see if you can figure out what to do here. 73 would be 70 plus 3. Going to multiply it by 5. 5 times 70 plus 5 times 3. 7 times 5 is 35, so we have 350 plus 15 is 365. Now we're going to look at the associative and the distributive properties review. So some of you were saying you were getting confused about the difference between the two properties. The first problem has the sum of 1 and 2 in parentheses plus 3 is the same as 1 plus the sum of 2 and 3 in parentheses. So if you look here, you have parentheses around the first two, and now they move and they're around the last two. Second example, we have 4 plus parentheses 9 plus 11, and then it is the same as parentheses 4 plus 9 plus 11. So once again, parentheses were on the last two, now they're on the first two. Works the same with multiplication. 3 times parentheses 6 times 9 is the same as parentheses 3 times 6 times 9. Down at the bottom, this is distributive property. So here we just did associative. This is distributive property, which is just like what we were doing with our multiplication. Here we have 2 times 4 plus 3, which is the same as 2 times 4 plus 2 times 3. We could have 6 parentheses 2 minus 1, which is the same as 6 times 2 minus 6 times 1. So the big difference here in associative, it's like you're associating. Here you're talking, this person's listening, now this person's listening, and these two guys are talking. The parentheses are just moving. In distributive property, you'll notice that you have parentheses around a sum or difference, but then we see them show up with the outside number being multiplied. So here's some practice problems. In the first one, is this associative or is it distributive property? It is distributive property because that outside 3 is being shared with the x and shared with the 2 through multiplication. The sum of 4 plus 9 plus 1 is the same as 4 plus the sum of 9 plus 1. What property do we have here? This one is associative because the parentheses are shifting. Down below, our third one, what is that? This is distributive property. The 5 is being shared with the 2 and the 7 through multiplication. Now we have these two here. You're probably wondering why they're written both out. What I want you to do is use the associative property and put parentheses in this first problem where they would belong. And then put them on the left and the right side to show associative property. So here's where you could have put parentheses around the 3 plus 6, and then over here you could have done the 6 plus 4. Or down below, you could have done the 6 plus 4, and then the 3 plus 6. That's why I wrote it twice. So I hope this helps with your little review for your test on Monday. I'm going to do one more page bonus on order of operation, so if you would like a little review, just go to the next page. So this problem is 4 squared plus 6 times 2 minus 3. So we have no grouping symbols, but we do have exponents. 4 squared is 16. I'm going to write it underneath, and then you're going to rewrite everything. We have no grouping symbols, we have no exponents, but we do have multiplication. And that's right here. And 6 times 2 is 12. And we're going to write everything in the exact order. So now we have multiplication, no, we have no division. Do we have any subtraction or addition in order from left to right? And we do. We have 16 plus 12, which is 28. And then 28 minus 3 gives you 25. Here's another one that's a little bit more complicated. We have the sum of 3 squared and 4 plus 12 divided by 2 times 2. So looking down below, we do have some grouping symbols. So I need to take a look at what's inside these grouping symbols. And inside these grouping symbols is my exponents. Those 3 squared is 9. And because this plus 4 is in the grouping symbol, I'm going to keep it there because I still need to finish up what's in that grouping symbol. So going back, grouping symbols, yes, we still have some, so we're going to go ahead and do 9 plus 4, which is 13. And then keep rewriting. There's no equal sign. Any scrap work we're going to do off to the side. So now, do I have any grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Multiplication or division in order from left to right. I have a 12 divided by 2, and that's going to give me a 6. So 13 plus 6 times 2. Multiplication and division, I need to go back and take care of that multiplication, which is 12, and then 13 plus 12 is 25.